has openly opposed and raised concerns with, particularly Lakeview and the Hurontario and Fairview sites, are being monitored or reviewed and being possibly walked back. With that, I want to say I know how unsettling this has been to the staff at the Region of Peel. They've been dealing with a great deal of uncertainty over their jobs and their livelihoods, and today they've been given some clarity that they rightly deserve. I also want to thank our staff here at the city who have been working diligently with the Transition Board over the past 6 months, and who I know will continue to work collaboratively as we move forward with our partners to ensure we continue to deliver world-class services to the people of Mississauga, the people of Brampton, and the people of Caledon. My message to residents remains the same. It's business as usual here for the time being. And now, along with our CAO, we're open to any questions on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have journalists both online as well as in person, so we will do questions accordingly. I will reiterate that we will do one question with one follow-up before we move on to the next outlet. I would also ask that the questions pertain to the dissolution of the Region of Peel and not Mayor Crombie's role as the leader of the Ontario Liberal Party. And with that, we'll go to our first question from Steve Cornwell of the Mississauga News.
Hi, Mayor Crombie.
Hi, Steve.
It seems of the services that the province has suggested now will be untouched in whatever kind of dissolution process happens going forward. Peel Police was among them. I know historically the city was looking to perhaps change the funding model for Peel Police to potentially save in Mississauga. Do you still see that as an opportunity here to perhaps kind of cut the costs that the city of Mississauga would be paying for policing?
So let me just say that now all that is remaining at the Region of Peel is Health and Human Services. So I'm not sure how often we'll need to go up to the Region of Peel. And of course, Peel Policing. Now we're ready and waiting for the Transition Board to make their recommendations on how they should be structured and how they should be funding. So I don't want to preempt any decisions, but I know there was a lot of advocacy work specifically on Peel Regional Police that they remain intact.
I just wanted to ask too, Mr. Calandra said something to the effect of Brampton and Caledon, their city staff seem to be more engaged with the process of the Transition Board. Can you just, it sounds like from your comments that you disagree with that. Can you just elaborate on that point?
Actually, I disagree with those comments profusely. Mississauga has been leaders in this initiative. My CAO was busy with the Transition Board, meeting with them regularly. As you know, Mayor McCallion before me and myself, I've been advocating for dissolution of the Region of Peel in an independent city for 9 years now. In fact, I fought the last election on it. But I want to thank and congratulate my CAO who led the charge, led the other CAOs coming together along with the Transition Board before they seemed a little reluctant in the beginning, but I know that she led the way, led the charge, and told them that we're going to be seeking fairness for all of our taxpayers.
Thank you, Mayor Crombie. We will now go online.
Did you want to respond, Sherry? Not after that.
Thank you, Mayor Crombie. Your first question comes from Lorenda Redekop with CBC News. Go ahead, Lorenda. Lorenda?
We may have lost her.
Okay, we'll move to Declan Finnegan with Mississauga. Go ahead, Declan.
I'm just wondering, the minister indicated today that it was based on input from the Peel Transition Board partially, and also feedback from regional service providers and first responders were what led to the province's reversal. If I'm not mistaken, you seem to think that perhaps the biggest motivator was Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown and his very public assertions recently that dissolution was a bad idea. What do you think was the biggest motivator, just to be clear, in the province's decision to reverse course?
I can't say specifically, although I had asked that the Transition Board continue to do its work. We had full confidence in them. They had been meeting regularly with the CAOs, and last time I'm going to ask my CAO to come forward and speak to this services as well. Up into my last meeting with them, they told me they were moving forward. I know that Mayor Brown has commissioned 2 reports that no one has seen. There are phantom reports. We don't know what the assumptions were. He did disclose that he felt there would be $14 billion owed to him. Then later he changed that number to $1.3 billion. And then last week he reported that there would be a $74 million hole in his budget. So I think this is more about Mayor Brown getting his own financial house in order. And I think that the $74 million deficit that he's showing speaks to more to their finances than the work of the transition board or the dissolution of Peel, quite frankly. Did you want to speak, Sherry, to the work that the transition board has been doing and whether they thought that there would be a pause in their work, please?
Thank you, Mayor Crombie. Relating to the financial modeling, I would suggest, and having been at the table for every single meeting of every working group that has been involved since this transition board convened, that no financial modeling has been done on the full dissolution of Peel as of yet. That was work that was just commencing with the transition board. So any numbers or financial reports that have been put out around impacts of Peel dissolution have been done outside of the process and have been done under hypothetical scenarios. We were really looking forward to the opportunity to getting to an actual financial model based on the services that we were around the table modeling out. And it does appear we'll get the opportunity to do that with some services now, and I look forward to that. But in the meantime, I would say, quite firmly that there has been no financial projection submitted by the transition board as we've been around the table the entire time. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could just add to
Declan,
that.
do you have a follow?
I'm just going to add to that, if I may. So the 2 reports that we're aware of, the first cited by Mayor Brown was the Deloitte report. The Deloitte report was commissioned by the region of Peel to justify the ongoing existence of the region of Peel. So of course, any updating of those numbers would deeply exaggerate the numbers that we are already familiar with on the rationale for why the region would be intact without analyzing the potential gain of separation for the other municipalities. And with respect to the other report, KPMG, I've not seen it. I've not heard of it. I would like him to table it so we all have the benefit of reviewing it and reviewing the financial analysis that was done. But that said, it's the task of the transition board to undertake a financial analysis, and we were looking forward to that analysis coming forward. And of course, at the end of the day, we want everyone to be made whole. We want fairness for all 3 municipalities. This is not gain for anyone. I believe that there will be fairness with tax dollars and the ability to control our own destinies. And I will say that given this announcement today, some of the largest ticket items will be moved off into service agencies such as water, wastewater, and waste. And of course, bringing planning and roads down to the lower tier, there is not much left at the region of Peel other than health and human services. Yeah. And of
Declan,
course,
do you have a follow-up question?
And of course, Peel Police.
Yes, please. Thank you. I know reports and rumors started to publicly circulate last week. Mayor Crombie, did you have any indications before that, either in speaking with Premier Ford or any other indications that gave you an uneasy feeling that this would actually continue on its course?
I have not spoken to the Premier in months, maybe longer than 6 months, so I did not have any indication other than the speculation in the media. And we were waiting for word from the transition board. They were communicating actively with my city manager, and we had not been given any formal notice, not last week and not today.
Mayor Crombie, your next question comes from Jack Howen with the Trillium. Go ahead, Jack.
Hi, Mayor. Can you hear me?
I can, Jack. Welcome.
Okay, sorry, I went silent there for a second. On the audits, I just wanted to make sure that you said you believe the audits are complete, and have you seen Mississauga's?
I do not. I have not. I'm going to ask my city manager to address that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Crombie, and thanks for the question. The city has been working with Ernst & Young, who were contracted by the province to complete these audits. It was divided into two parts. The first part was an assessment of the impacts of Bill 23 on the finances of the municipalities. And that part was deemed complete, and EY was drafting their final report for that first phase. We hadn't seen the report, but we understood that the work was done. The second part was a value for money audit that was just beginning, and now based on the news today, it seems that the audits have been discontinued.
Okay, thanks very much.
But Jack,
And,
just to confirm that we have not seen the results of the audits, and they weren't complete, but almost complete.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. And on the MZOs that were part of the announcement today, how do you feel about Lakeview Village being excluded from that those reviews because it was issued in the last year?
That's right. So we actually have a council directive that MZO, in fact, it was an EMZO, be reviewed. It was not commissioned by the city. The city did not ask for the MZO, and in fact, it was announced 3 days prior to our community consultation that was to occur on Monday night at a planning meeting. So that is one that we feel needs to be given a second look, sober second thought, and we have asked that the minister review that one, and there are two others on our list as well, as I mentioned, on here Ontario and Fairview.
And Mayor Crombie, your next question comes from Joe Wittenbell with the Pointer.
Welcome, Joe.
Hi, Mayor Crombie. It's actually Joel Whitnable with the Pointer. Thank you for taking my question. So just so I'm aware and so I can kind of confirm, you and your staff have not seen or been shared any of the studies or evidence that the PC government is using to inform its decision-making today?
Yeah, quite accurate. I have not seen, I don't know which reports they are using. I sure hope they're not the ones that Mayor Brown is speaking of, because no one has seen those, not this updated Deloitte report, which was commissioned initially to justify the ongoing existence of the region. And he mentioned another KPMG report that we have not seen, has not been tabled for review, full disclosure. So I am unaware of what reports may be being used by the government to make this final decision. I'll ask my CAO if she has been privy to any reports and that she has seen any, or whether she is aware that any have been commissioned. Please.
Thank you. As far as final reports, we haven't been provided any, and I would hope that some of the work that we've been doing around the table with the transition board has informed some of the decisions today. So the decision to go ahead and move services like roads, land use planning, provide a new model for water, wastewater, and to move waste management. Those were all service areas that we were very advanced in our work around the transition table. And so presumably good information that was developed by those working groups was provided to the province from the transition board. But as far as any financial modeling or final reports, we have not seen any, and I'm quite confident that there was no financial modeling on the overall concept of Peel dissolution done by the transition board at this stage. Thank you.
Well, did you have a follow-up?
I do, yeah, thank you. And thank you for that, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to get your response to what was kind of appeared to be a bit of a slight or an attack against Mississauga by Minister Calandra during his press conference, which seemed to be fueled by some false information about Mississauga's successful housing starts, saying that the city is one of the worst in the province.
Taxes, jobs, livelihood, the real cost of the dissolution of Peel Region. We've been listening to Ontario Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie respond to the Ford government's reversal on Peel Region.